Hello everyone and welcome to another review. Today we're going to go ahead and review a fragrance from the house of Lacoste. The fragrance we're going to review today is called Lacoste Essential Sport. Now, Lacoste Essential Sport was released in the year 2009, comes in two main sizes. It looks very similar to the original Lacoste Essential in terms of looks, but the original has green juice, whereas the sport version has blue juice in it. So that really is the only difference between the two. Now, it comes in two main sizes, 2.5 ounces and 4.2 ounces. The 2.5 is going to run you $54 retail, and the 4.2 is going to run you $70 retail. Alert, you can find this much cheaper despite those other retail prices. Look on Fragrantica, or not Fragrantica, but FragranceNet. Look on any other fragrance discount site, you can find this much cheaper. Beware of fakes, however, it's been out since 2009. It's a designer, decently popular designer, so you may find some fakes of this fragrance. So try and purchase it from at least a reputable grade marketplace if you're going to go the cheaper route. And I actually recommend that you probably should go the cheaper route for this one. All right. Now let's get right into the notes of this fragrance. The notes of this fragrance consist of, at our top, we have ginger, bergamot, and lemon. For our mid, we have C notes, juniper, nutmeg, and geranium. And for our base, we have vetiver, patchouli, and musk. So off the bat, at first I was thinking this scent doesn't really resemble the original scent, but then as I smelled it a little bit more, I'm like, yeah, it kind of does resemble the original scent, but with a heavily pronounced C note. The C note is really what takes the forefront of this scent. It kind of has this salty mixture, it kind of has this sporty mixture, which is where you're getting the sport scent. And that's really where you're getting that sport vibe from, is that C note. Now the ginger kind of gives it a little bit of a tinge to it, but overall, it's just one of those fresh, sporty, clean fragrances that you are accustomed to smelling around. It doesn't smell bad at all. And the one thing that I'll probably caution, and it's a problem that I've been running into, is when I encounter fragrances like this, I tend to want to give it a negative review, just because of the fact that it's a fragrance that I've smelled time and time and time again. It's a genre that I've smelled time and time and time again. So at this point, it really needs something, a sporty fragrance that is of this caliber, sorry for the train, it needs to stand out for me to really give it a positive note. And so I want to beware of that because it still is a good fragrance in my own mind. It's just something I want to be aware of. So just be careful of that. And be careful when you're listening to my reviews of that fact. Now, lemon C note is what you're getting from this one, and you kind of get a musky undertone, which kind of gives it that generic type of feel to it. But don't get me wrong, don't be fooled by what I'm saying. It still is a great smelling scent that people are going to think you smell great and are probably going to compliment you on if they smell you on it. I go about 4 sprays. This is a great casual scent. I don't really envision using this outside of that casual scenario just because it has that generic cologne type of a scent, and I think you can do better when you're trying to dress up and when you're trying to impress people for that. Now, age group, I think this is a great age group for any age. This is a great fragrance for any age group. And performance-wise, I get good performance out of this one. I get anywhere between 6 and 8 hours, and I said more 8 hours on the tab than I did of the 6 hours. So I would say this is a pretty good fragrance in terms of projection. At least I'm always looking for that 8 hours at least out of fragrances. And if it's less, there has to be a reason for it and a possible scenario. And because it's casual, I think 8 hours is perfectly fine for it. The sillage of this, it doesn't really leave a scent trail, but people can smell you when they're around you. And I did get one compliment on this one, not some, with the overall scent that, hey, you smell good with it. There wasn't anything special. I asked her to elaborate on it. She didn't really elaborate. She was just like, oh, you just smell good. It smells, fresh, basically. And so that kind of is the takeaway from this. This is a great fresh smelling scent, and there really isn't much else to write home about. Now, if I'm going to go ahead and give this fragrance a rating, I give it a rating a 7 out of 10. It gets a solid 7 out of 10 because of the fact that it still smells good. It's a relatively cheaper scent. If you can get it on the gray market, you can get it for a very good price. So it's not going to break your bank or anything like that. And that C note, while I keep emphasizing that, is still a very lovely note. It's got that C, that lemon, and ultimately gives it that sporty vibe that I still think is a very pleasant smelling scent. On the negative side, it's an average scent. In other words, you can take a stone and throw it into the fragrance community and find a scent that smells very similar to it. So it's not original. It's not going to do that. I don't think it's a very versatile fragrance either. You can definitely wear this one in the winter, but because of that sporty vibe to it, it kind of feels like it should be better suited for the summer. So it's not a very versatile fragrance in when you can apply it and in the scenario as well. I think it's casual fragrance, and outside of that, I don't think you can really use it for it. So those are the negatives for it. But overall, 7 out of 10, not a bad fragrance. And again, I have to caution myself just because I've smelled so many fragrances that are like this, and I'm tempted to give this one a bad rating because of that. But I mean, it's still a good smelling scent, and there really isn't much to write home about just because there are so many others like it. All right? So if you have any questions or comments whatsoever, please feel free. Leave me a note, send me a message down below. Thank you. You guys take care of yourselves, and you guys have a great day as well. All right?